Alright, now that we have covered the initial setup, it's time to go through the interactions. Now, before we go into the interactions itself, I want to cover one specific setting, which is called Filter Trigger. If we click on the time series visual on the main report page and go into the formatting options, right here we can see a tab called Filter Trigger. Underneath it, you have a drop-down which allows you to choose between two options, any action or only on selection. The difference between these two is that when you have it on any action, anything you do with the chart, whether it's a drill down, whether it's a selection, whether you move the chart to the left or the right, all these actions are going to be considered immediate and they're going to be calling out a filtering capability. Now, if you change this to be on only on selection, what's going to happen is I can click on, for example, 2011 to drill down. I can click on one of the quarters. I can fine tune the zoom level. I can move it to the right or the left. But as you can see on the table, nothing is getting filtered. The only way on how I can call out a filtering capability is if I highlight a specific selection. So that is something to keep in mind before you go into the rest of the interactions. Now, I'm just going to clear the selection and we're going to go through the rest of the interactions. Let's go back to the initial view. There we go. So as with any other ZoomCharts visual, you do have the intuitive drill down. So all you have to do, just simply click on one of the years to drill down to the next period. In this case, it's the quarters. If you want to drill down into quarters, click on one of them, drill down into the month view. If you want to go back, simply click on the zoom out and it's going to take you one step up in the hierarchy. Now, once you have done that, you have the option of choosing a single column or multiple columns. In order to choose a single column, you need to hold down the control key and click on one of the year columns. That is going to call out a filtering capability as well. Now, if you want to select multiple years, you need to hover over the x-axis and create a selection. You can see that you're on the x-axis because the cursor changes its appearance. So hold down the left mouse button and create a selection. Now, within the tooltip, you can even see the time period that I have selected, in this case from 2009 to 2013. And in the brackets, it shows you the time period that I have selected. That's 5 years. This also is a great identification of the unit that you are working with right now. Now, if you want to clear the selection, all you have to do is just simply click on the y-axis. Now, afterwards, if you want to call out more information regarding the visual, you can just hover over one of the columns and you can see a tooltip appears. The tooltip has the information regarding the series, plus the name of the year, and in the brackets, the granularity of it. Something that you also want to know about is how to drill down into custom time units. So in order to do that, we again going to choose 2 years, for example, 2010 and 2011. If you want to drill down into these 2 years specifically, create the highlight and then click on the highlight. So you can see now I drill down to a smaller granularity, but I'm also only looking at the 2 years that I selected. So this is a great way on how you can fine tune that zoom level. Now, afterwards, of course, as any other ZoomCharts visual that has columns, lines, and areas, you have the ability to freely move around it. In order to do that, simply hover over the chart, hold down the left mouse button, and you can move the mouse up or down to increase the zoom or decrease the zoom, or you can move it right or left, essentially to move between the timeline. It's a great way on how you can intuitively navigate with it, and it's also a great visualization on how you can use these charts also on mobile devices. Now, after that, the last thing is regarding the legends and how to interact with the legends. So for example, if I click on budget right here, you can see that it becomes grayed out. And what happens is I disable that series from the visual aspect. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that these series, once you disable them through the legends, are not persistent, meaning that if you refresh the page or if you reopen the report, all the series are going to be loaded up by default unless specified otherwise through the series configuration. So it's just something to remember that these settings essentially work when you work with the chart on live environment. If I click on it back, you can see it reappears, and I can easily do the same thing for payout. So it's just a great way on how you can work with multiple metrics and choose which one do you want to see there. All right, that's going to be it for the interactions, and I'll see you in the next video.